Hi everyone, Miss Brocker here. We're going to keep working on our learning target of calculating the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. Yesterday we worked on finding the mean of a data set, and today we're going to focus on median. So up on the top of your screen, or near the top of your screen, we're going to just start with writing our definition for median. The median of a data set is the middle value in a sorted list. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean about sorted lists. So the way we find median, and we're going to kind of do this steps on this other side, like we did for mean yesterday. Okay, the first step that you are going to do with your data set is order the values. Order from least to greatest. And I know this seems like a really specific skill that we're focusing on today, and that is okay, but it does not mean that we don't need to be careful when we go to order our data set. So I'm going to start by looking at my values right here, calculate the median of the data set, and I see that my smallest value is, my least value is 3. Now I like to mark these off as I go so I don't miss any or I don't repeat any number values in my list. Okay, and then 5. Next I see 8. You can see I'm separating these with commas so they don't look like 2-digit numbers or 3-digit numbers. And then 10, 11, and 19. Now, one thing I also like to do is go through and just count how many I had in my original set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then make sure that I also have 6 values in my new list. And I see that I do. Okay, and I'm going to write our second step in green. We are going to cross off. Now our goal is to find the middle here. And for some of these with a really small data set, it might be easy to do visually, but it is easy to get off track. So I like to really focus in on this. So we are going to cross out our values, one from each side, least and greatest, until we hit a middle. Oops, sorry, that got a little bit messy. That's an I there. Okay, now I'm going to do this with green again. So I'm going to start with my least value, cross it off, and I'm going to go to the opposite side and cross off my greatest value. Least, greatest. Uh-oh. And I did this on purpose so that you can see this when this happens. This is actually going to be something kind of strange in a step 3 that doesn't always happen when we have a data set in our calculating mean. So do you notice how there are 2 values in the middle? And if we went to cross these off from least to greatest again, we would cross off both 8 and 10. And then that wouldn't work because we wouldn't have any value to be our median. So instead, here's what you're going to do. I'm going to circle these. We want to find what is in the middle of 8 and 10. So I know there are no values written in the middle. And you might be thinking, well, duh, Miss Brocker, I know that 9 comes between 8 and 10, but it isn't always going to be values that are this easy to work with or visualize like that. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to add 2 values in the middle. And then divide by 2. And that will give us this exact middle value right between 8 and 10. And even though we know it is 9, let's try it out using this step 3. Okay, I know that 8 plus 10 equals 18. And 18 divided by 2 gives us 9. So our median is equal to 9. Okay, so I'm going to kind of use those steps from the last slide, and if you already forgotten them, you can always go click back and rewatch that slide. I am not going to write them. I'm just going to keep repeating them as we go through the next 2 slides. Okay, our goal again is to calculate the median or find that middle number of our data set when it's ordered from least to greatest. Okay, so step 1 is always going to be to look at your data set and organize it or sort it from least to greatest. That almost always means rewriting or retyping it. When you get to your independent practice, I should be able to see you retyping that data set in order from least to greatest. And then even putting some marks on there to show that you are crossing off one from each side to find that middle value. Okay, I'm going to look at my data set. I'm going to look for the smallest value, which is 8. And then 12. And then 16. See, I'm crossing these off as I go, just so I don't miss anything. And then 19. And then 24. Okay, now I always like to go back and make sure that I haven't missed any. I see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers in that data set up there. And when I rewrote them organized, after I sorted them, I see there are still 5, which is good. Now, hopefully you remember last time we had 6 numbers in our data set. And I think that's going to help you remember what to do when you have those 2 in the middle. And let's see if that happens for this one. Okay, so I'm going to use red. I'm going to start step 2, which is going to be to cross off one from each side so we can find that middle number. Low, high, low, high. Oh, okay. Because we have 5 values or an odd number of values in our data set, we are going to be able to find that middle number without having to do that addition and then division to find the middle of the 2 middle numbers. So this problem is pretty easy. I can easily see that our median, or our middle value of an organized data set, is 16. Okay, this is our last problem we're going to do together, but we're going to follow those same couple steps, same 2 steps. We're going to start by organizing our data set from least to greatest. We're sorting it from least to greatest. So I see that 1, and then I see 6, and then I see 9, and then 10. And the nice thing, if you mess up this order, you can always go back and redo it. It's not permanent. Okay, I'm going to keep going. 10, and then I have 11, and then I have 18, and then I have 19. Again, as I rewrote these, I crossed them off so I didn't forget one. Another 19. See, I almost forgot one right there. If I would have went to my list to count them, I would have seen that. So now, and I did see that, so I added that on to the end. Now I'm just going to go through and make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers in my data set. And here I have, in the one I rewrote in order from least to greatest, I have 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, it looks good. Now I'm going to use my red marker to cross out. This is step 2. We're going to cross out 1 from the least side, 1 from the greatest side, 1 from the least side, 1 from the greatest side. And I'm going to keep alternating that until I find the middle value. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you start with least or greatest as long as you go every other. Okay? Okay. So now you see I've crossed off 3 from each side. And this is that dilemma we had in our first problem, where now we have 2 numbers as our middle. Now we can't say that our median is 10, 11 or have 2 values. What we need to do is find out what is right in between 10 and 11. And the way that we do that is by adding up 10 plus 11 equals 21. And then we're going to divide 21 by 2 to find exactly what is in the middle. Now you might be thinking, hey, Miss Brocker, I know that 21 is not a multiple of 2 and it can't be evenly divided by 2 and get an answer that's a whole number. And that's okay, because just like yesterday, when that happened, you guys know how to put remainders in decimal form. Okay, so I'm going to model that happening again. 21 divided by 2. And yes, you need to use the standard algorithm when you do this. Okay, I know that I can put a 10 right up here in my quotient because 2 times 10 is 20. And then instead of writing remainder 1, you're going to have a decimal median. Or not a decimal median, but a decimal remainder in your median. Okay, so that turned out pretty messy, but that's supposed to be a decimal point right there. And what that means is you say that if I have that 1 as my leftover or my remainder, I know that I can't break one of something into 2 equal pieces and get a whole number answer. It just doesn't work. We can't make 2 equal groups out of 1 without it being a piece of a whole, just like a decimal is. Once you put that decimal place there, that says you're signing that contract that you know that the answer can't be a whole number. You bring down your 0, and now how many times can 2 go into 10? Or what times 2 equals 10? And that answer is 5. 2 goes into 10 5 times. That means that our median value is 10 and a half, or 10 and 5/10. And I'm going to circle that. Now, some of you might also be thinking, even when I got to this part and asked you what comes right in between 10 and 11, you know right away that that answer is 10 and a half or 10 and 5/10. And that is also okay. Sometimes your values will not be that close together though.